Hey guys, welcome to week 7 of distance learning. Per your request, I'm going to do a dissection on my back porch looking like a psycho to my neighbors, trying to squeeze into these small gloves that nobody could fit into in class because that's all we had left, but I'll make it work. So for you guys, I'm going to be doing the snake dissection. I wasn't able to bring a rat home because it wasn't shrink wrapped, and I'm not bringing just a random rat pail home in my car. So you still will dissect a snake of your own if you take back 3 next year, but I'm going to do it this way, and then if I can record the rat in my classroom next week, I will do that one as well, okay? And I'm also doing the snake dissection for my Vet 3 from last semester because we didn't get to do it, and I owe you guys. And just in case anybody randomly is watching this on YouTube, I did not kill the snake. I would never kill or harm an animal. This is from Carolina Biologicals. So you can see the internal organs. The first thing I want to point out is on the head. Couple of big differences with snakes compared to other reptiles is that snakes do not have eyelids. So it always looks like they are staring directly at you. They don't have tympanic membranes either, so they don't have the inner openings connected to the ear bones. Snakes are completely deaf. They can sense, obviously, sound vibrations, but they cannot truly hear. Before I point out the Jacobson's organ, it looks like this snake has swallowed something, like a fish or something, so I'm going to be weird and creepy and pull it out of its mouth, because why not? Okay. So there's the fish that it ate. Sadly, it didn't get to finish its meal. Yummy. So couple of things I want to point out on the snake's mouth. Even though they obviously have fangs and this is a non-venomous snake, they do have serrations on here. So you can actually probably hear my probe kind of scraping it, kind of like serrations on a steak knife. And then with snakes, remember that there's their forked tongue, but then they have this glottis, which is this tube. So if you remember, it's hard to do upside down. If you remember when we talked about it in Vet 1, this acts almost like a snorkel, so it allows them to breathe while swallowing their prey whole, because a lot of times they will swallow things a lot bigger than them. So compare this to the snake, imagine swallowing that whole. That's going to take some time. They have to be able to breathe. And then the other thing I want to point out is the Jacobson's organ. So if you remember, they have that forked tongue. When they stick their tongue out, they have, they'll bring in air molecules. And then with those air molecules, when they stick their forked tongue into the roof of their mouth, there are these 2 tiny holes. There's one there. I'm trying to find the other. Ooh. There's the other one. So that is the Jacobson's organ. So it allows them, basically it's their way of smelling. Wait until my neighbor walks so I don't look like a creep. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to point out, you can't really see the cloaca on here, so I'm not going to waste my time. So those are really the main external features that I wanted to focus on. I'm going to do a time lapse for the actual dissection, and then obviously I'll go through the internal organs with you. Alright guys, I first want to give a shout out to my best friend who's filming this, Lindsay. She is terrified of snakes, but is doing this out of love for me. So just wanted to give her that recognition. So first thing you'll notice is how empty this region looks. This is where I pulled the fish out. I actually pulled a second fish that's more digested out of the snake, but you can see here how their body is adapted for swallowing prey whole, and this is one of the only animals that you'll ever see where the anatomy is not proportionate. So like in a human or another mammal or even another amphibian or reptile, you're going to have a left kidney and a right kidney. You're going to have a left lung and a right lung. You're going to have my mind just drew blank. Just ignore that blooper. But on the snake, not only are some of them asymmetrical, but they may be even different shapes. So I'm going to kind of walk you through some things Hopefully it's not difficult to see. So back here obviously would be the esophagus. This right here is gonna, this is gonna be the heart. So they do have a 3-chambered heart, like all reptiles minus crocodilians. So this right here is their 3-chambered heart, but connected right below that is actually their left lung. So really weird. Normally on a heart you would expect obviously the heart and then a left and right lung on the either side of it. But with the snake's case, obviously their body is basically a long tube. So this is the heart, this is the left lung, and then below that, not even next to it, right here, it has a lot of connective tissue. I tried to open it, but this like maroon part right here, and this, it's very long. So this whole thing is the right lung. So literally left lung, right lung. Really weird. So 2 different shapes and not even next to each other. Right below the right lung is this really, really long structure right here. This is the liver. So they do have a very large liver. If you remember when I did the frog dissection, the liver in the frog is really, really large as well. But this one again is more like a tube. The liver is gonna stretch all the way to here. I'm trying to find the gallbladder as well. Ooh, never mind. Before I do that, I also wanna point out, normally the stomach would be all of this, but when I pulled out this fish, I had to kind of pull through the stomach. So normally you would see the stomach extend to here. You can see where the stomach is open. You can see all of the little folds where it helps with the digestion, where gastric juices would break down the food that it ate. So the fish would obviously be in here. So that is the stomach. Ooh. A lot of this clear stuff is called fascia, just connective stuff. Notice all of this yellow looking stuff. Looks really weird and gross. These are fat bodies. So if you remember again with the frog, frogs have fat bodies as well because they are ectothermic, meaning they are regulating their body temperature using the environment. So some of them may have to go into hibernation if it's really cold and there's lack of resources, or estivation if it's really hot. And so this allows them basically to have an energy storage, or like an energy bank, and that's what all these fat bodies are for. So all of this orange, I'm not going to take them all out, all of this orange, those are fat bodies. So back to the stomach, and again, liver is also connected right here. There is the gallbladder. So let me get a probe. This is the gallbladder. So the gallbladder actually stores the bile produced by the liver, and the bile is going to aid in digestion. You have gastric juice, you have pancreatic juice, and you have bile. All 3 of those are going to break down the food. So there is the gallbladder, and then right below that is the pancreas. Okay. Obviously this is probably the most obvious thing. These are the intestines, small intestines. You can see how they're folded, really tiny folds to increase surface area. So the small intestines are where most of the nutrients are going to be absorbed into the body, the water, the fatty acids, all the important stuff that the snake would need in order to survive. And then the waste is going to push through to the large intestines. So the large intestines are going to run all the way down here. So you can notice okay there. Obviously I'm not going to cut this open because I think you know what's in there. It's all the waste that would be pushed out through the cloaca. And then we also have the kidneys. So they don't look like kidney beans like the frog. They don't look like kidneys, you know, your normal kidney shape with most animals. Their kidneys are actually these weird looking string things. So this is a kidney from here to here, from thumb to thumb, either left or right. And then there is another one, maybe, oops, here to here. So those are your 2 kidneys. And then this one, I'm not an expert, so I may be wrong, but I believe this is a male. These look like the testes. Obviously you'd have your sperm, and then your vas deferens. Is that correct? Okay. Trying to remove one. So yeah, so that should be a male. And I think that's it. So I will also post some information on eCampus for the anatomy, because I know maybe the video wasn't that great, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I miss you all. Goodbye.